Do you see the full moon? The waning full moon. I have to go back there to see that again. Now we can get the sun reflected and the full moon on the screen over the palm tree. So beautiful. Really, the swings of nature are delightful. So much variation. Good morning, everybody. Could you write down the names of 3 people, even one person, but let's say 3 people that you hate? Hating people. Hatred. And how much hatred is in the world? How much hatred is in the world? There are very strong words today in the reading about hatred. Hatred. And hatred is tied up with anger, and leads to destruction, horrible destruction, and fear. Violence, aggression, especially speaking bad, demonizing. It's amazing how people who have fallen in love reach a point later on where they demonize their partner. It's very ugly when it happens among siblings, to demonize a sibling. Then it can become very destructive to eliminate that person. And all kinds of justifications are mobilized to do this. And many good dynamics are weaponized and unleashed. And people take sides. Hatred. And this becomes really questionable when it's practiced in the hearts of Christians. And Christians can aid and abet hatred and destruction. It happens. Oh, there they are. And family members can line up with some family members against other family members. And people aren't spoken to. Communication breaks down. And lies can be believed. Hatred. And people who hate do so much damage to themselves by their hatred. They lose freedom. They can become blind. A lot of darkness. Things that would never be done before or said now. People lose their moral dignity. They can even actually become sick physically and especially psychologically, emotionally. Let me read the text we have here in the end of, it's the last sentence of the first letter of John, chapter 2. I'm reading this especially for us, those of us who are Christians who are listening in here, who are watching. My page unloaded, but now I'm getting it back. Whoever says he is in the light, yet hates his brother, is still in the darkness. Whoever hates his brother is in darkness. He walks in darkness and does not know where he is going, because the darkness has blinded his eyes. Here are 5 fishing rods really well lined up, equally spaced more or less, and very symmetrically poised. And the education that's provided to little children, because we all struggle with emotions, aggressive emotions toward some others. And the siblings are fighting and somebody breaks the toy of the other, and the parents intervene so the child doesn't do more damage. And have you noticed in the soccer games, sometimes there's rough play and somebody gets very angry, one of the players, and they want to really go after the other one, and their own players form a wall around him and get him under control. Talk to him, hold him back, catch his arm, encourage him to get dominion of himself, not to lose it. Because if he does get violent, he'll be thrown off the team and they'll have one player less. That's even a selfish motive, but it's an okay motive. You don't need to lose a player over his stupidity, over his blind behavior, because he's blinded by anger. Happens in playgrounds with children. Teachers and parent supervisors in playgrounds have to be attentive to those moments to educate. Sports are a great place to educate people in anger. And sometimes there's injustice, there's an unfair call. A referee can make a mistake. Prejudices can be at work. Tensions at home can come out in the children's playground. Things they heard from their parents can be said. What an important role it is for parents to educate their children, to overcome hatred. And we have that beautiful line, which is, hate the sin, but love the sinner. I found an amazing quote. I'll have to translate it because it's in German. Just hold your horses there a second. So it says, well, I just improvise it. It's basically, you don't love me unless you know my weakness, my burden, and carry it. That's really when love gets to a peak. And that's why it's so compelling for Christians to love in that way, to carry the burden of the other. Because that's exactly what we're doing as disciples of Jesus. We're called to do. That's what we're supposed to do. That's our identity. We're supposed to be like Jesus. And all of this is rooted in Genesis chapter 1 and 2. Made in the image and likeness of God. And anybody made in the image and likeness of God, I cannot hate. It's not given to me to hate. You remember how brown this was? And that's the way sometimes hearts of people are, and they can flourish to green again. People can learn to love. Sometimes fear is a great barrier. Sometimes prejudice is a great barrier. To learn to love, to learn to gain dominion over our passions so we don't fall into hatred. I see some fresh snow on Mount Hermon. I wonder if the camera can pick it up. But there's Mount Hermon. It's not so clear. And that's why, not just in siblings, parents helping siblings, and playmates in the schoolyard helping a friend who has gotten very angry over whatever, or a professional soccer player at a very important competition gets very angry over an unjust call. It might even cost them the championship, or a very unfair foul, intentional foul, hurting, damaging foul. But also in communities. I remember in hurling in Ireland, the game of hurling, athletic Irish sport, and sometimes parishes would be very, very hot-tempered toward each other. The need for all around to become agents of understanding, self-control, peace. Then we have this wonderful man, Simeon, an old man. Sometimes older people have reached a great stability and peace because of the knocks of life, because of the damage they've seen through anger and false ambitions and false prides that betray us. And they're able to be great peacemakers and animators and encouragers. And hear the words of Simeon in the temple as he takes the little baby Jesus, the presentation in the temple. And even the words he says to Mary, they were probably said with great affection, with great compassion. You see, those are great words, compassion, mercy, for the processing of anger. And he's holding this baby that's coming in to lay down his life for our salvation. And he says to Mary, a sword will pierce your own soul too. He definitely didn't say that to her in hatred. He must have said that to her with great depth, and she retained that in her heart and her memory. To prepare people to endure injustice, to endure great pain. That's a great service, because then people have light around the sufferings we are often called to endure, so that we don't lose it. A light for the nations. What a gift. People, God bless you. May you be a great contributor against hatred in our world. At every level, every child that's educated and encouraged toward peaceful coexistence, and where need be to help constrain the violent, the angry. And there will be people always struggling with hatred. What a mission we have. Let's pray for this gift to be able to be agents of peace. God bless you people. See you later, alligator.